this week we're doing something a little bit different. I recently came up with, I got this idea about what to get my family for Christmas, and it was kind of a fun project, so I wanted to share it with you guys. I learned something new this week. I learned how to make a board game and order it and all that stuff. I know that's not super complicated, and no, I did not come up with a board game. I just kind of ripped off an old one, redesigned some aspects of it, and I'm ordered the pieces for it, and now I'm giving it to my family for Christmas. So I'm not a master genius. I'm not genius enough to come up with my own board game. Maybe someday. I am a big Settlers of Catan fan. My wife and I came up with this idea to make a board game personal for my family. And so after waiting for what seems like forever, I'm finally able to give it to them this weekend. So I'm finally able to make this video for you guys because I obviously didn't want to put it on Facebook and spoil the surprise for my family. So this is how I designed a board game, how I made it personal, where I ordered it from. I hope you guys like it. My family has a game that we have played constantly over the last couple years since my dad found it. It's called the farming game. It's a ton of fun, and a lot of you might not know, but I grew up on a ranch here in South Dakota. And so this game kind of incorporates like livestock, crop sales. That's kind of how you win the game. You get a certain amount of money. It's almost like Monopoly for farming. And so the board here is really big, and it has a lot of different things on it. Like as you can see here, there's Sunnyside Sydney, Wapato Willie. These are the different plots of land where you would put your crop pieces, like this. So if you got like, let's see, Hurrah Harry here. Let's say that you were to get, 30 acres of hay and 10 acres of grain. You would put them on your plot of land. You'd move around the board. I'm not gonna explain all the rules of the game here, but basically every board piece is a week of the year. Yeah, that's kind of a brief summary of the game. And the first person to get $250,000 in assets wins the game. There's these little the pieces you move around the board are yellow, white, brown, green, and so you put your pieces on the corresponding plot of land. And then out here on the outside, another important piece is you can lease these different places like Cascade Ridge or Cascades, Ottenham Ridge, Rattlesnake Ridge. This is where you can keep more cattle if need be. So this is another part of the game. These are called Farmer's Fate, and they're basically like chance cards. So this one here is a good one. You get 50% bonus in your livestock for the next couple years. Collect $2,000 if you have cows. A lot of them are negative, like this one, drought, go to the, every time, it's like pass and go, you get $200, you get $5,000 in this game. So you would miss that. This one hurts. Income taxes due, pay $7,000. Oil company pays you $100 per acre for oil and gas. So those can be good or bad. And then there's this other kind of card called option to buy, and this is how you buy new things like acreage, cows. You have to get these cards before you can buy anything. The reason I bring these cards up is because you have to get them to lease these different ridges around, like this is, Toppenish Ridge. In order to get that ridge, you have to get this card, and then you can buy it. So these will all become, I'll show you why these are all important here pretty soon. We wanted to make it more personal. We thought it would be fun to design a board that had our family's names on it, landmarks that are important, that are relevant to us. The leases, my family has leased different land over the years, and so we thought it'd be kind of cool to use that, to incorporate that into it somehow. What we did was we found a website where you could design your own board games, and I am somewhat familiar with Photoshop, and so I photoshopped a new board and designed new cards to make this a little bit more personal, and they just showed up today, which is super exciting. So let's get that out and I'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, I have the board that I edited together. I made it extremely high resolution so that it wouldn't be blurry when it was blown up to size and pasted on the board. So I just made these different ranches, places that are actually in my family. A lot of the tiles were changed in different ways, like, let's see, find one here, Rancher's Reckoning. Right here, it used to be Farmer's Fate, but since I made it the ranching game, I decided to make it Rancher's Reckoning. All the pretty much all the aspects of the game are the same. What I did to create the boxes was I made again another very high res image. I edited the box to look similar to the old game, but make it just kind of personal to each family. So this is my brother's family. If you can't tell, this is my brother. And what I did was I took images and I put them into this Be Funky website where it kind of cartoonizes the image for you. So this is an example. This is my nephew. And the one I used for most of them was this oil painting one right here. And so what that did was, as you can see, makes him into sort of a cartoon. And you can adjust it right over here by making it either more cartoony or less, depending on what you want. And so that really allowed them to look a lot like cartoons. And I did that to each family member and then placed them around this circle. This site here, boardgamesmaker.com, is how I designed the board game, at least how I bought it. And so they have game boards, boxes, cards. These are the three that I used. And so when you do these different things like boards, I picked this 24-inch by 24-inch board. When you get into your design, it gives you this template. And so what I did was I edited in these sides here, put it all in the area that it needed. This is the final product for my immediate family. And so this has every family member on it. And I really like how it turned out. The template was really easy to use. Props to Board Games Maker for making it so easy to order these. And then I just put everything into Board Games Maker and they had the rest of it figured out. It was actually pretty easy. This is the one I made for my sister and her family. This is the one I made for my brother's family, and they have really cute kids. My niece is very cute too, but this is my godson here. I really like all of these, obviously, and this is the one that I made for my parents, my mom and dad. So let's crack these open and see, or at least let's crack one of these open and see what it looks like. The cool part too about this is, in a few years, like as families grow and expand, we can redesign these boxes just to include like the rest of the family members on it. As I'm sure that people are going to have more kids, things like that. It'll be a lot of fun to just update those. So the first thing we have here is the option to buy cards. So the option to buy cards look really good. They don't have the white border on them, but that's completely fine. We changed the name of the Farmer's Fate cards to Rancher's Reckoning. They look very similar, which I'm very happy about. And our last piece here is the game board. I want to be pretty careful about opening this so I don't scratch it all up or anything, but oh, this is exciting. I hope this turned out okay. Awesome. That is nice. This is like, I don't know, it feels like really high quality. It's laminated really well, or it's finished really well. It feels like a really nice board. It's really big. One thing I was worried about was getting a really high resolution image to use for this, and the file that I exported was like 400 megabytes, and it turned out really, really nice. I'm really happy with this. As you can see, I changed the name of the plots of land to be family places. So I have the Brown Ranch, which is, was supposed to be after my parents, my brother and his wife's place, Jeff and Mandy, my sister and her husband, the Schmidt Ranch. And another thing that I tried to do was these leases around the outside. Like I said, my family has leased different land over the years. Those are all named after different plots of land that have been leased by my family. And this is probably my favorite part of this, and that is that we matched the amounts of the Rancher's Reckoning versus the Farmer's Fate so that the cards still corresponded, because we don't want to throw off the game. But what we did was we changed the Rancher's Reckoning, we changed the events that happened to match things that happened when we were growing up. So I thought of like funny stories that happened growing up with my brother and my sister and our family. So the first one here, your son knocks the fuel tank off its stand and you lose all of your diesel, pay $1,000 to refill. That's a true story. So one time I was in a big hurry to fuel up the tractor, because I think if I got it done faster, it meant that I could go to the pool It was in the middle of summer. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old. I was 10 years old. It was the year that my grandpa passed away. And I drove the tractor around the corner really quickly to get to the fuel tank, and it had a loader on it. And I just, in a big hurry, couldn't get the tractor slowed down fast enough, realized I was off a little bit, and ended up hitting the fuel tank with the loader, and it fell off the stand that it sits on, and diesel went everywhere, and it put a big dent in the tank. And that was fun. That was an embarrassing story. Another one here: your son gets bucked off his horse and breaks his wrist. My brother got bucked off and broke his wrist. That was that looked pretty painful. This is probably my favorite one. Your son throws a rock and it incidentally hits your daughter in the head, probably harming her intelligence for life. My sister's very smart, but I thought I'd throw that in there. One time when I was a kid, my sister and I were playing around waiting for my dad to get done haying this little plot of land, and we were picking up these rocks and throwing them in the water, and I picked up this really big one, gave it a big throw, and it bounced perfectly off the top of my sister's head. She was bleeding everywhere. I remember my dad told me I couldn't light off fireworks that year because that was my punishment. A little embarrassed about that story. Sorry to my sister for putting a dent in your head. Your roping trip to Billings, Montana goes well. Collect $5,000. My dad is a very good team roper, and he usually goes to this rodeo up in Billings, Montana, and usually does really well. So that's kind of about him. Your wife crashes the family van. Pay $2,000 for a new car and bean cleanup. The bean cleanup on there, my mom made pinto beans for the babysitter to help her out as she was taking us there. And I hated pinto beans growing up. This soup was just, I hated the days that this soup was made in the house because I couldn't stand it. It caused me to gag. I hated it. And so one time, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. We were driving on the road, and Mom lost control of the van in the snow and crashed it. And I thought it was hilarious and like fun. I guess I didn't get scared. I thought it was like almost like a roller coaster ride. My mom was really, obviously everyone was really scared because it could have ended really badly. But all I remember is the van is upside down in the ditch, and the beans are everywhere. And I was celebrating in the ditch because it meant that I was not going to have to eat these beans anymore. I was actually overjoyed that these beans ended up all over the place because now I didn't have to eat them. So we had to get a new vehicle, but that was, yeah. The stock trailer you built sells really well. My dad is really creative, and he just built a stock trailer one time. I helped him with it, and he sold it for a good profit, and it was just a really cool project. Your son ropes a skunk. Pay $500 for enough air fresheners to get rid of the smell. My brother, with his buddy, I think it was Colt, they went out one time and ended up roping a skunk, and it smelled terrible. They both got sprayed. Over the course of 10 years, your son breaks 5 bones. Pay $3,000 in medical bills. The expenses don't need to be accurate. I'm sure it would probably cost more than that. But before I was 10 years old, this is about me. I broke my arm 4 times and my leg once. I was kind of a reckless kid, and it didn't help that my brother, when something was scary, I was the trial run person. So a sledding hill, Luke, you better just go down that first and check it out. So I had to do that. And the rest of these are just the normal, some of the ones that I couldn't change. Yeah, these were a ton of fun to come up with. We're giving them to them tomorrow evening. And I'm so excited to give these gifts to them because I think they're really going to like it. I think it's a very unique gift. I think that they, are going to appreciate. I mean, this took a lot of time. This board took so many hours to complete it. If somebody was better at Photoshop, it probably would have went a lot faster. But I'm kind of a rookie at it, so it took a long time. And of course, there's things I already see that I'd like to improve. The text is a little bit small on here, but we've played it so much that we pretty much have the board memorized. It was just a ton of fun to do this for my family because this game is just something that we've really, especially my dad and I and my brother-in-law, have played constantly. throughout the last couple years. So it's really fun for us. I think it's going to be a very personal gift. It's going to be very unique, and I really think they're going to like it. I know this video was a little bit different, but I just wanted to share this with you guys. If any of you play this game and want to use the board that I created and just change up the names a little bit, let me know. I would be glad to forward you that file or even do it for you. It would take 10 minutes to change the names on the board especially, and send you that file. If you do want to do this, it is also a little bit difficult to navigate the website. We found out it took like a really particular kind of file to upload it. So again, if you guys wanted, in the off chance that some of you guys want to try this or make your own board, let me know. I can't praise the company enough. The cards and the board and the boxes all seem really high quality. Really happy with that. And again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope you guys had a great holiday. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. So we just got back from Christmas with the family, and they loved the game. They were very happy with it. I was very happy with their reaction. So I got some footage of them opening it and reacting to it, and so I hope you guys like it.
Look at it.
Oh! Oh!
That's funny.
How'd you do this?
I found a board game company where you could order the parts custom, and so open them up. There's more inside.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, yours is already open.
Yeah.
Oh, look, your picture's on here.
We figured we could update them in like 10 years when like there's more kids or whatever, you know.
I don't. And Helen already looks different.
We got
Right?
the
Like she's already.
Yeah, she
so
does
fat.
already look different.
Grow so fat.
Oh my
Funny.
gosh.
No, it's good.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh, isn't that neat? Oh man, you guys. Awesome. Thank
Thanks.
you.
What's that?
What a neat deal.
You designed the whole thing. I mean, you typed in
Just
everything.
wait.
Yeah.
Made all the cards.
Thank you.
What a
Oh,
cool, what a cool,
Yeah.
gift.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that is neat. Thank you.
Did you design these? Your son throws a rock and it accidentally hits your daughter in the head, probably
Oh!
harming
All
her
the-
intelligence for life.
Did you hear the second part,
Pay
Hannah?
$500 in medical bills.
Most of the ranchers' reckonings are things that actually happened with us growing up.
Oh,
That's yours, isn't it?
So it's
Your sister tries to drive your pickup through a corral fence.
yeah, that's Jeff.
That
That's-
happened too.
That's Jeff and Hannah. Different.
Oh, the skunk roping too?
Yeah, I remember that
Did you
very
put the
vividly.
Your wife,
Minivan.
your wife crashes the family van. Take $2,000 for a new car and bean cleanup.
That was one of the best days of my life. We didn't have to eat
I
those
know.
pinto
You
beans.
two, we get out there close to the highway, the van's going sideways and just piling up that snow, and we just go. And I don't know what I said to you kids, but we just slowly rolled over. And the kids are hanging upside down with their seatbelts on. No.
Really?
And I had bean soup in there and some
That's
ham.
the bean
Break the
thing.
glass out of one
Because
window
I
on
made
one
it over the
side.
weekend, so I was gonna give Mom
Or
bean
something.
soup.